Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. So lately we've been learning a little bit about yeast, and yeast are these tiny little microorganisms that grow at an exponential rate. And one of the uses of that exponential growth is that we can use yeast to bake bread. So every time yeast multiplies with itself, it produces carbon dioxide. And it's that carbon dioxide that what helps make bread light and fluffy. So in this video, I'll be showing you guys how to bake bread. To bake bread, we only need 4 ingredients. We need flour, yeast, salt, and water. So let's get started. Alright, so first we're going to take a large mixing bowl and we're going to fill this up with 3 cups of flour. When we measure flour, we always want to level it off. That's going to be 1 cup, 2 cups, 3 cups. The next ingredient we need is yeast. So we're going to need 2 teaspoons full. So here are our measuring cup of 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. The third ingredient we're going to need is salt, and we're going to use 2 teaspoons full. Again, this is something called kosher salt, and now we need 1.5 cups of warm water. So I'm going to take this water and microwave it for a little bit. So now that we have our water nice and warm, again, not boiling, we're going to need 1.5 cups. Right, so here's 1 cup. Right, so 1.5 cups. Now we mix. Just a little bit of warning before you start mixing, this is going to be a very sticky dough. So just keep that in mind when you start mixing. So after mixing, you can see that our dough is still very sticky, but that's okay. Now we need to give time for the yeast to multiply. So in terms of our exponential function, we could think of this as our initial value, and we want our growth factor to be times 2. So I'm going to cover this up with a clean kitchen towel, and I'm going to wait for it to double in size. And that could take up 2 to 3 hours. So covering that up. And we're going to wait about 2 to 3 hours. Alright, so it's been about 2 hours, and now we can see that our dough has doubled in size. So now we know it's ready to bake. So now we're going to decide what we're going to use to bake our bread in. You guys can use a glass container, a ceramic baking dish, a baking tray, or a cast iron pan. I'm going to go with this one, it's because I have one, but you guys can use any of these. So now I'm going to preheat the oven. One thing I want to make sure is that you guys do not touch the oven unless you have an adult around you. In fact, I want to make sure that you have an adult who operates the oven, okay? Alright, so now I'm going to click bake. I'm going to choose 450 degrees. Sorry. And another thing, I'm going to throw the pan that I'm going to bake in inside the oven so that I can heat up along with the oven, because we want both of these to be hot when we start baking. So here I have some parchment paper. It's just going to make transferring the dough to the oven a little bit easier, and it will help it from sticking a little bit, but this can be optional. So now I'm going to take a little bit of flour and flour my surface area. Again, it's going to be still super sticky. Right. Just try to move it out of the bowl. So now I'm going to dust a little bit of flour on top. I'm going to slowly fold it over. So I'm folding against the x-axis. So here's the x-axis. Now I'm folding against the y-axis. And I want to seal up this end here. I'm going to pinch it closed. And if you need a little bit of flour, you can dust a little bit more flour. So this is going to be the bottom of the bread. And I'm going to roll it over. And this is going to be the top. So our oven has preheated, so now let's put in the dough to bake. So again, this part is going to be dangerous, so make sure you guys have your parents do this for you. And just for decorations, you can take a pair of scissors and cut a line on top or score the top just to allow steam to escape. Okay, and for decorations. So I'm going to push this back in and we're going to let it bake for 30 minutes. Alright, so now it's out of the oven. I'm going to move it onto a cooling rack. So, here we go. That's how you make bread.